got to hold and give, but do it at the right time. You can be slow or fast, but you must get to the line. They'll always hit you and hurt you, defend and attack. There's only one way to beat them, get round the back. Catch me if you can, cause I'm the England man. And what you're looking at is the master plan. We ain't no hooligans, this ain't a football song. 3 lions on my chest, I know we can't go wrong.
Welcome to the Third Touch Soccer Podcast. My name's Sam Leamy. I'm here with Connor Walsh, and we are joined all the way from England, special English correspondent, my good friend Ryan Curtis. How is everyone doing today?
What a day. It's Christmas morning.
It
World
is.
Cup is here. U.S. Open's here. Russia versus Saudi Arabia is in the past. Thank God. But yeah, what a blessing. What a blessing it is to be here today. Pleasure.
Well, welcome, Ryan. Thank you for joining us today.
I was gonna say, isn't that the bit where you go, yeah, I'm all right, but then he jumped in.
Well, we did signal the hand signal if you wanted to chime in just before. But thank you, Ryan Curtis, all the way from London, England. Thank you for joining us on this. I guess it feels like Christmas morning for you and I. We're in our mid-30s now, and just waking up to World Cup opening day is just something special to my heart, close to my heart. And I just remember the previous World Cups and just getting excited overall, just collecting the stickers, the Panini stickers, and just really exciting.
So for me, I thought that excitement would go, right? I'm 34 now, and this morning I was meant to be doing work, so kickoff today was 4 o'clock for probably the worst game that there'll be in the tournament. I was up all morning watching YouTube videos of Messi. Will he do it? Will he not do it? I was literally excited. I started watching 3 Lions. I started watching all the England songs, and I'm like getting no work done. I've got emails coming in that are probably worth a few quid, and I'm watching YouTube videos of football. So excited for the game. And then Robbie Williams came on and ruined it a little bit. But
Threw up the middle finger.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well,
This is a family event. This is a children's event. You got Robbie Williams, hasn't been relevant in 2 decades, throwing up middle fingers on national TV.
This was my morning. I woke up and I woke my kid up for school. I'm like, Jack, wake up! It's World Cup day. And then some of my roommate's girlfriend heard it or woke her up as well. He's just kind of loosely opening his eyes and he's going, "Lucky charms, Dad. What are you talking about?" And so I wheel him off to school, go straight to the bar. I hang the fallen Iranian flag up and had to do that. And
Just
the
so
Morocco flag.
now that political statements are no longer a thing, the Iran flag is hung up. We're good to go now. World Cup is officially, now that the Iran flag is re-hung up, we're good, ready to do it.
So let's talk about the opening ceremony. I mean, not as exotic as the Olympic opening ceremonies, these World Cups, and I was very surprised to see that Robbie Williams. I didn't see who was in the lineup of doing the intro to the opening game, but to see Robbie Williams. A lot of people had to educate a lot of American people over in the bar this morning who he was exactly.
You put me on Robbie Williams 6 months ago, and that's the only reason I heard of him. And I remember you're like, "Yo, this song was huge." And then I heard the song, and I was looking at you, and you were like at the bar, and I was
I'm singing the song.
I was like,
singing
"Yo,
Angels out loud."
This has got to be Robbie Williams," because I've heard one song only, and that was it.
it's Russia, isn't it? They're like 20 years behind. I don't know, with the whole Soviet thing. Anywhere in Eastern Europe, he's probably just coming in there, so he's massive for this World Cup. Yeah, it was weird. They did keep it short, which I thought was quite good. And then Putin did some weird speech. And then I was like, we need to get the football going here.
Yeah. I mean, going on to the game, I mean, not the most exotic fixture for opening day. And there's only one game on the first day, which was Russia against Saudi Arabia. We touched on it yesterday. And I just want to say... my bracket's absolutely fucked right now. Calling Saudi Arabia to finish runners-up in the group. The game has just finished about an hour ago. Was it 4-0? 5-0?
5-0.
Jesus, 5-0. I was in and out of the game. I'm working down the bar. The news crew are there. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people walking around. Deliveries are happening. But from start to finish, an absolute domination from Russia today.
I think that Saudi Arabia actually had the possession overall, but yeah, Russia definitely 5-0. They kind of needed that, though, because the next two games are going to be the hardest games. Egypt, Uruguay. I don't think they'll beat Uruguay. if they're gonna win a game, it's another game. It's probably Egypt, but that 5-0 start goal differential could be the difference between second and third place potentially.
It's a massive result for Russia, like in front of their home fans with that pressure. But like first 10 minutes, like Saudi Arabia were kind of ticky-tackering it around. We thought, maybe they can play a little bit. And then the first moment Russia got any attack, you were like, these guys can't defend. They were so bad defended. It was like watching kids football. They were so bad at the back. I think it was the second goal. Do you see? Like they all fell over, and the Russian guys.
They were bad.
It wasn't the greatest pass to the guy who scored it, but he just cut inside and then shifted it back onto his left. He had so much time, 12 yards out.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm reading the stats now. Saudi Arabia had 62% possession, Russia 38%. I don't know if that was the goalkeeper or just it was a relentless attacking display from Russia. I don't think you can take this result as seriously going forward, but it definitely throws down a statement for Russia, the host nation, and puts them in good stead for the rest of the group games.
Yeah, it was the result they needed, honestly. If you're going to win the first game, which I expected them to, great, but then to have a 5-0 goal differential is going to be extremely important going forward. I don't think they'll win the group, but they could sneak into that second spot depending on the results. And today's result will definitely help that for sure.
The funniest thing all over Twitter was just when people during the game, Cavani and Suarez was trending just because everyone was tweeting how many they're going to score against Saudi Arabia. They're going to get like 10.
Yeah, their odds have probably been slashed in the group stage. Cavani could probably get 6 or 7 in the group stages alone.
Sam's saying that Cavani's the Golden Boot winner just off the group stage alone against Saudi Arabia. That could be a hat trick easy.
And yeah,
they're bad. They're bad.
And one of the reasons why Closer is World Cup top goal scorer of all time is because he bagged that hat trick and that 8-0 victory in 2002, and that just gave him confidence going forward for the rest of the World Cup. As soon as a striker, you know how it is. I mean, I'm not a striker personally, but a professional striker, if they're comfortable scoring goals in the World Cup, that just gives them more confidence as the games go on and the tournament goes on.
That's what Kane's going to do on Monday.
I'm sure.
Back 4 and then get him going.
I'm sure. But yeah, great win for Russia. They have Egypt and Uruguay in the group stages. I mean, Uruguay are probably licking their lips at that Saudi Arabian defense. What was really weird in that game was the snippets. Fox snipping to Infantino, the FIFA president, and then he had Putin to his left and the Saudi prince to his right. I mean, do you think that was a show, or do you think that's how it's? Is he going to be there at most of the games?
I mean, Vladimir Putin is like an absolute worldwide known figure at this point, obviously, and with his nation hosting the World Cup, he's going to get a lot of camera time, and then like the whole Saudi aspect, and then the FIFA it was just like the perfect storm of corruption, like worldwide. It was just like this corruption hotspot chilling in the director's box, just chilling. It was crazy though to see. It really was. It was like wow.
I mean, what did they talk about? What do you think they were chatting about for 90 minutes?
They probably didn't talk except for if a goal was scored. Like I don't know how good Vladimir Putin's Arabian is, but I doubt it's piss poor.
Arabic.
Don't care. Just don't care.
But that was weird to see. I mean, Fox as well. I mean, they just want to stir shit up as well.
No, that's not Fox's camera feed though. That's a worldwide camera feed, and then Fox.
Yeah, we got it as well.
Yeah, it's the same. Okay. Tiger Woods just missed a birdie putt. On 6.
Talking about England and broadcasting and everything going on in England and Europe. That's why we invited you on, Ryan, to give us an insight in the excitement how England are prepping for this World Cup. Obviously, the squad's been out for a while now. They've had a couple of warm-up games. But, talk us, educate us about the build-up to the World Cup and how the England public are taking this.
So I think you'll know as well as me, like, there's a standard procedure on the build-up for any England fan. It's like, and I think this is the lowest expectation in my lifetime I've got into a World Cup. But when it gets to this time, we're like, the preparation seems to have gone well. It seems like a relaxed camp. Basically, we trick ourselves into any positive. And I don't know. I don't think expectations are that high, which I kind of think might help. I don't think many people think we're going to get second round quarterfinals. Quarterfinals would be amazing. I think for most English people would say that. Like, I've even thought we wouldn't get out of the group at times, but I think just get ahead of that now.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess overall, I think I'll know on Monday when you go out and see how many people are out in the streets.
But you don't see, I mean, I remember the 98, 2002 and 2006 and that golden generation. I would say 50% of cars on the roads had the England flags on them. There was banners. There was a lot of excitement. The media frenzy. I mean, what's the media been like? I listen to a lot of the BBC podcasts, and it's them giving, I would say, they're more defensive to the England team now, and that's due
Except for Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
Except for Raheem Sterling.
How is the media, how are the newspapers, how are they reacting to the build-up?
I think even media's changed. Like, media has changed over those years, right? So you have like England are putting out their own stuff, and it's like Lingard and Rashford, and they're having banter of teammates or whatever, and everyone's kind of going, "Oh, these guys are actually young. They're actually all right. They're relaxed. Everything like that." The actual media, they kicked off at Sterling, and they got a lot back from the public. Yeah. So it seems that.
And you're talking about the gun tattoo on his leg, correct?
Oh, right, yeah. And everyone kind of, the backlash on that was like, why are you calling him out for that? It's fine. The reason behind it and everything. And everyone's like, it's fine. So, yeah, I think the public, I guess, are behind the team. But I think they're behind the team to do well. But I just don't think, I think most of the public know they probably haven't got, especially the defence, to go too far.
Can I ask you guys a question as two Englishmen? Do you think that like the English fans and media finally sounds so? I'm not trying to attack anything, but like, do you think they've finally realized that like England is what England is, and it's not going to be any more or anything less? Because I feel like Americans, in a way, have the same expectations of England as the English have the expectations of England. That they're like, oh, the Premier League is this, the Premier League is that. The English players are so good, but you get these guys in a roster together, and it's kind of like. Not mediocre, but it's just like it is what it is. And
there's a couple of things there. I mean, to be an English player in the Premier League and you want to play in that top 4 or 5 team, you have to be as good as the foreign players, if not better than the foreign players coming in, because you need to prove your worth. And we've seen an influx of foreign players, and from the day Bergkamp and Henry came in the Premier League, all the English players had to up their game if they wanted to start for their clubs. Back in the early 90s and the beginning of the Premier League, it wasn't like they were walking in the team, but they didn't have that challenge from the foreigners. Also, I think from a media perspective, it's more of a generational thing. You had a lot of older pundits and critics that were around in '66 when England won the World Cup. Now we're kind of getting that more, I would say, cohesiveness between the players and the media. They kind of get each other now. They've been around the block. They travel together. They experience the world more. So maybe that's one of the reasons why the media are more understanding with the current crop of English players.
Yeah, I think as well they kind of have to be. Like, I think previously, and we call it a golden generation. I think Connor's right. Like, we probably bigged them up too much. But realistically, you go through like some of the teams. You've got
why do you think we bigged them up too much? We had 2 of the best midfielders in the world.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we've got like Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard, who are world class. We've got Ferdinand Terry getting pretty much any side in the world. Cole gets in pretty much any side. Neville, Rooney when he came in, Owen, they all get in most sides in the world, but the cohesiveness, the way of playing was just never there. Whereas now I'm hoping that can almost come first. That way of playing, that England way of playing. I don't know what it is yet, because other countries seem to have it. Like Spain would be the ultimate of it, right? They have a way of playing. You could put different players into each position, and it kind of just is the way they play, right? England don't have that. I don't know, Connor, whether you see as an outsider, like when England play, you see a way of playing.
No, I think it's funny. I think that England and like the U.S. national team have a similar problem where it's just players are on the field. You have 11 players, and if you get a result, great. If you don't, oh well, the media's going to rip you apart. But there's not like, obviously Spain has a style of play. Germany, it's like a system. You can throw players on that field, and the system is going to work. But for England, it's just whatever happens, happens. And how does England play really? Because you have like the Premier League style of play, the breakneck pace, the constantly going forward. But the English national team, like what is their identity? And, you know, I love rooting for England every Euros, World Cup, but is this tournament going to be any different than any other tournament? I think, you know, you have guys like Harry Kane and Dele Alli, who I think are very, very, very good players, but is the rest of the team at their level? And I feel like throughout England's recent history, you know, obviously 66 was a 66 was a great, the peak of the national team, at least the peak of it. But you always have 2 or 3 stars.
Well, they said they had a better team in 1970, and they got knocked out in the quarterfinals.
I don't know. I can't speak on 1970, but it's just like you have these top tier players, and the rest of the players are average, above average, very good players. But you know, is it good enough to go deep in a tournament run? I don't know what the problem is. You guys know better than I do, but it's just the same every tournament from England, and I hope that this tournament's different, but you know, that remains to be seen. We'll see Monday.
I think pretty much the answer to is it going to be good enough will be no. We just don't. We haven't got. I think the biggest thing with England is central midfielders, especially, will get played off the park. We won't be able to control the game against anyone that's not like Tunisia, basically.
But we've done well against these. We've done well against some of the powerhouses in friendlies in recent years, and then we haven't really. We played against Brazil last year. It was 0-0 at Wembley. I know it's not a huge competitive game, but we haven't got played off the park by anyone. The last time I really think we got played off the park was Germany, 2010. Like, absolutely in all departments, just non-stop,
Can I say something? England fans just sound like more mature U.S. fans. Like, oh, we didn't get played off the park against Brazil. Like, oh, last weekend USA played well against the French national team in a friendly. It's just like, it's the same type of talk. You guys are more mature fans. You guys are more knowledgeable fans. But, like, it's the same type of conversation, but you guys get more credit because of the history, like the culture. Like, I get that, but it's kind of the same conversation if you really think about it.
When I say played off the park, I kind of don't mean like they've won 5-0. I kind of mean they're controlling the game.
The game against Belgium, you really think Belgium are going to be really possession heavy and they're going to attack us and we're going to rely on our counter-attacking? And
I've watched Spurs all season. I'm a Spurs fan. Dembele is head and shoulders above anything we have in central midfield. He will push people off him. Whoever it is, it'll be Henderson or whoever is in there against him. He will take the piss. And De Bruyne will play deep. We will not get close to the ball. England have to, against teams like that are going to be better on the ball, park the bus and break with pace. I think United did it against Arsenal last year and Rashford, and they killed him. But I don't see England having the kind of nous to sit in and wait, or the defenders to do it. But they'll try and go toe-to-toe playing football. I just don't see it happening.
And that goes back to the problem of England not having an identity of what their type of play is. Like, if they're going to sit in and defend and hit in the counterattack, that can be the English style of play. But that's not
Wales.
set in
We're
stone.
not Wales, who beat Belgium 2 years ago. 3-1, was it? 3-2?
But less is expected of Wales, so they can go out and do whatever they want. England has an expectation.
We have to have more confidence. I mean, we have to have more confidence as a nation. You know, we don't have bad players. The expectation, yes, isn't there, but we can go toe-to-toe with Belgium. I understand they have technically better players than us, and Dembele, I know for sure, like, you talk to any Tottenham Spurs player, they say Dembele is the most gifted natural footballer in the squad, in the Tottenham squad. Higher than Eriksen, higher than Harry Kane, Ali, you know, great players, Lamela. But I don't want England to sit in against a team like Belgium, who are very beatable. Very beatable.
Are they?
Yes, I do. I don't think they've proven themselves in major tournaments. They haven't got further. I mean, they got to the the quarterfinal. They haven't got further than the quarterfinals in the last 2 major tournaments.
But this could be like the Belgium project coming to its peak. Like, this is the tournament.
That was 2 years ago.
So the players that were before their peak 2 years ago are now at their peak 2 years later.
Right.
Whether it's Belgium or anyone, I think, Sam, you're maybe getting a little bit patriotic. Maybe I'm more cynical, and maybe it's somewhere in between. I just think I don't see that identity still, and I just think in players like Henderson, in players like Dyer who might play, or players like Loftus-Cheek or someone, I just don't see them competing. I think the only way we go far in this tournament is if Kane goes crazy and just starts like banging them in from everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like that's my only like thing, that because I've seen it for Spurs where he just goes into like beast mode and just shoots from everywhere and it flies in.
Yeah.
If that happens, we've got a chance, you know.
Do you? I'm a Arsenal supporter. I love Jack Wilshere. I'm not trying to go on that tangent, but do you think that Wilshere should have been in that squad based on his performances?
100%. I'd have took Wilshere 100% to offer something different to what we've got.
Thank you.
Just someone who can go past someone, beat a man, just do anything different. We have nobody. I'd have took John Joe Shelby just to pass the football.
Yeah.
Well, Gareth Southgate has worked with John Joe Shelby in the under-21s and didn't like how it worked. You have that. But I agree with the John Joe Shelby, who can give England something different. But it's a lot of players that Southgate's familiar with. He's worked with them most of them at youth level. He knows how they work and knows their strengths, weaknesses. He knows how they're going to fit in. And we spoke in the last podcast. He never really worked with Wilshere in the youth setup because he was straight in the senior team from such a young age. But I think it was more of a safe squad for Gareth Southgate, and the way he's been talking to the media and how he's coming across, I've warmed to him more than I did when he got announced as England coach after Allardyce.
He'll be on the front page of the Sun after Tunisia and Panama
with a turnip head, right? Something. 2 carrot teeth. Do you hear about Graham Taylor after the Euro 92, right? Lost every single game and the Sun newspaper put the England manager on the front page with a turnip on his forehead.
That's wild. It's a for you.
Anyway, but going on to the England squad. I mean, a few surprises. We touched on this in the last podcast, but overall, are you okay with the squad, the balance, as what's available to Gareth Southgate?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you like you say, I think it's a bit possibly a safe squad. I'd have put in some like random players. I'd have took Andy Carroll, like special. Over there in America, you call it special teams, right? I'd like last 5 minutes of the game, if we're losing or 1 down, just chuck Carroll on, like because like Vardy is almost the same option, Welbeck the same option. I would just have random guys. I'd have took someone who could take long throws, like. But that's
But yeah, I mean, I don't see a. Last 5 minutes in the knockout stage, just throwing Vardy on and making something happen. I've never seen him do that for Leicester. No. Vardy is someone who needs to feel the game out, feel the defenders out, the pace, and which direction he's going to go, see where the balls are going to come from. He's not really that guy who's going to scrap around, climb, a Fellaini kind of push people around. He's not.
Fellaini is the perfect example. Like he's not even close to good enough to play for Man United, but in the last 5 minutes, when defenders are panicking, he is effective. Andy Carroll's the same. Like, imagine Spain. We're playing against Spain in whatever quarterfinals. They're 1-0 up, just bossing it, having no problems at all. And then they see Big Andy coming on.
Yeah, they're going to shit themselves. Yeah, he'll pull his hamstring after 30 seconds.
Get too nervous.
Well, just it's such a young squad. What is it? The second youngest squad in the tournament. A young squad, a lot of people fighting for places. I mean, you and I mean, if you, me, and Connor were to write our England team out, it would be totally different. No one knows the starting 11 for England. Even Loftus-Cheek, who no one thought he would get in the side, Gareth Southgate loves him, could most certainly start that first game against Tunisia.
I think a lot of the media over here, that is one thing you do see a lot, is the starting 11s. And I think pretty much everyone is pretty sure on it. I think I can go through it super quickly. It'll be Pickford in goal. They'll play 3 at the back, Walker one side, Stones in the middle. And I think Cahill from the friendlies is going to get the other spot. Rose one side, Trippier the other side. Because it's Tunisia, I think they're talking about playing either Henderson or Dyer with Delhi. And then Lingard, who's that leave? Lingard, Sterling, and Kane.
It's just like it's crazy. Every time I see an England lineup, whether it's a friendly, Euros, World Cup qualifier, it's just like it just feels very underwhelming. And I don't know. Maybe that's I don't know I don't know. It's just like, oh great. Like it's just weird. It's just weird that you get that vibe around England. I wish you guys the best.
What do you think about the 2 warm-up games that they had recently against Costa Rica and who was the other one, Nigeria?
Yeah, it was all right, and you kind of hope they can build from that. Like Rashford scored like that worldy goal, maybe that could give him a bit of confidence. Like my biggest thing for this tournament, and this is another thing the media is saying, is a lot of the pundits like Lampard and those guys, they're saying, can we just get some performances? Because we haven't even had that in previous tournaments where we've even played well. We've kind of grind out a 1-0 maybe against someone terrible. Mm-hmm. But if we can just get some performances, maybe we put 3 past Tunisia and play really well, and they can build off that. Like, and even if we do get beat by Colombia in the second round, and it's like, and at least we've put up a performance against someone.
Yeah, at least we're trying to break down teams. I mean, the last game we've watched England competitively in a major tournament was against Iceland, and the second half was probably the worst England performance of my lifetime for sure. 100%. That
was a joke. I honestly, we played 6-a-side back in England. I've seen people turn up drunk and play better than Rooney did in that second half. He couldn't make a 5-yard pass.
Yeah,
he's one of the best English players of his generation. He couldn't even pass it 5 yards. It was ridiculous.
So no missing the traditional English setup squad in the. I mean, obviously Lampard and Gerrard retired, but the old heads, shall we say? Rooney retired from international football, but you're okay with this young, energetic squad who are going into the tournament for the first time?
Totally. We could have took people like Rooney. If we'd have pleaded with him, I'm sure he'd have gone. Like even Walsh is not an old head, but he seems like he's been around forever. He could have been an easy one to pick. Who else was there that would have been left? Joe Hart, another one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like out with the old a little bit, and I think you prefer that. You kind of have less people with bad memories.
So what's the punditry lineup there over there in England with BBC and ITV for the World Cup? Who's in the studio?
So Gary Neville's got into the ITV studio. He was doing punditry on on Saudi Arabia today, which was really weird. And he was with Dixon, he overshadowed Dixon his whole career. And they were sat next to each
He's
other.
on NBC Sports over here.
Is he? Yeah. He's all right, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't mind him. I don't mind him. It could be worse.
Yeah.
Compared to Fox's coverage of the World Cup, I'll take NBC's coverage of the Premier League every day.
Slaven Bilic was the other one today. He was quite good, actually.
Yeah.
I love that the World Cup, like even Fox had like Gus Hiddink out of nowhere. Like the randoms just show up for the major countries for the coverage. I kind of like it. You get people out of like the woodwork that you weren't expecting. Because we know the regular cast of characters for Fox, but to have like Gus Hiddink on it, it was like, all right, this is kind of cool. At least we have someone, because like Ruben Nistelrooy has done a great job. Roberto Martinez has done a great job for ESPN the last 2 World Cups. So I guess we'll see who Fox has in their back pocket to pull out, because I mean Fox is just the absolute worst at coverage of any type of soccer. But we'll see what happens.
So overall predictions, we did our brackets yesterday. England chances, how far do you think they will go in this tournament? What do you let's do realistic first, and what you're hoping for.
Okay, so I'm going to be cynical, and I'll say we'll win our first 2 games. We'll probably, who knows what, we'll win our first 2 games. I'm hoping we play well and do score a couple. But then I think I kind of like Colombia, and I think they're the kind of team that would play, like I say, once again, technically be better than us. I'd like if I was hopeful we'd get past Colombia, and then I don't know who we'd have in the next round. Someone good, I think, right?
After Colombia, it's I think we're on Brazil's side, right?
So if we beat Colombia, I'd be so optimistic that we're going to. Literally, if you asked me this after we beat Colombia, I'd say we're winning the whole thing. I'd have booked a hotel. But really, realistically, I think Colombia will be very tough.
Right. I mean, we did our brackets, but a full. Well, now we're going in. Tomorrow is going to be 3 games, which is Egypt, Uruguay. Looks like Salah's fit for that one. Morocco, Iran, and Portugal, Spain, which is a big one. I mean, we discussed the Spanish coach getting fired yesterday. What's the thoughts about that from your personal view? Do you think that's going to affect Spain that much? I mean, we spoke about it yesterday. I think it's going to have a huge impact. Firing your coach a day before a tournament, it's huge when you have one of the biggest games in the last 4 years just over the horizon.
I think I listened to your podcast yesterday, and Connor said something like, if any team can cope with their manager going the day before, it's Spain. Just because they have that way of playing. They've got so many guys in there. Like Iniesta is not going to care. Put him on a football pitch. He's going to do his thing, you know. Mm-hmm. Ramos, Piqué at the back. They're going to just do their thing. They're not worried about the manager on the sideline. But I do get it. It's not ideal. I think only time would tell. I think you come that game, and the worst possible game you could have in that group after your manager. If you had the other two and you kind of got a couple of wins under your belt, it might be better. But you're playing against Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah. And he might.
That's the fear, because Spain could easily go 1-0 down, and they may need a tactical change at some point. And there's no one really in place to make that executive decision. I mean, Iniesta. I mean, there's a lot of intelligent players on that team. There really is. But that's where the problem comes for me. Is like there's going to be difference of opinions from players. Like Diego Costa, is he really getting along with Iniesta?
If there's any odd man out on that Spain team, it's Diego Costa, because I feel like everyone else is on the same page.
But he's like he's like the problem child, you know. He really is. As talented as he is, and how effective he is at his position, and what he can do to a game, he's definitely a liability in the dressing room. He just comes across that way anytime he plays.
Yeah, I think watch Costa, and I'd be interesting to see, because I think it was the last World Cup or the last Euros where Spain went in without a real striker, and
last
you kind
World
of
Cup,
thought,
right?
Yeah, David Villa was there. I think he only scored against Australia in the last game of the group stage.
And you thought Costa, he is like, I watched him in the Europa League final. He's so effective, and he'll chase down everything. And you think, if he's chasing stuff down and the ball drops back to people like Silva, Iniesta, all those guys, that's when they're going to be like so good. But who knows? Who knows with Spain? I think it's kind of interesting, because no idea what's going to happen.
It can go one of two ways.
I'm looking forward to most in the first round.
I mean, Hierro might be just an absolute tactical genius, and we don't even know yet. He's been involved in the national team, and he's played. How many caps has he got for Spain? And
he's been involved at Bolton as well. He might have picked up stuff there
with JJ Okocha and Stelios.
I think that the Spanish players, I mean, I said this yesterday, I'm gonna repeat myself, but I don't mean to. Like, the absolute embarrassment of the last World Cup was so bad, where you don't even get out the group stage, that these same world-class players that are so used to winning, whether it's at club or international level, I think they can figure it out themselves without some manager. I mean, I know that a manager plays a huge role, and the substitutions play a huge role.
10% apparently, Soccernomics. 10% is the amount a head coach influences a game.
I think that's a little low, but Spain. I feel like Spain is just a machine. They're almost a machine in a way. Like, kind of like the way Germany's a machine, where it's just like plug and play. You throw this guy in the lineup, it's gonna work. And you pick players that are going to work.
Yeah, but when Manchester
system.
United a machine, and then David Moyes comes in and just rusts the whole thing up,
Yo, you're right. You're right. I mean, if that last team that won the league and was 2011 before Ferguson left was bang average, just a completely average team, and they got the job done. So yeah, there's managers can do a lot. They can also do a little, but I think I personally am giving the benefit of the doubt to the Spanish players that they can overcome this adversity, but it'll be interesting to see. I mean, their hardest game of the entire group stage is tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening, depending on where you're listening from, and I
think
hope
it'll be interesting.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, what else can you say? Like, we don't know what's going to happen. I think that they could win that game 2-0, they could win that game 3-0, or they could lose 2-0. And then it'll be more clear what's going to happen. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they'll get the job done.
I think it's even interesting, the Portugal thing, because, like, especially here, I don't know what it's like over there. No one's talking about Portugal.
Yeah, we
They've got
discussed
one.
that.
No one talks about Portugal. No one
They've
talks
got like
about
the
Portugal.
Ballon d'Or guy. They've
Yeah.
won the Euros, and it's like that. No one's talking about him. Everyone's like, and everyone's going on about Messi. Can he do it? Can he take his team the last chance? This is Ronaldo's last chance as well. Even though I'm a Messi guy because I know about football.
Wow, yo, Dustin Johnson just hold out. Dustin Johnson just hold out. I'm sorry.
But no one's talking about Portugal, and they've got the same side as they had in the Euros, and maybe they've found a way of like getting through games.
Yeah, I think they're the underdogs. I mean, the dark horses as well. Uruguay, who finished second in South American qualifying. Portugal, the team that won the Euros less than 2 years ago. And it's pretty much a similar squad. I know they did kind of struggle through that the group stages at the Euros. I think they had a close game against Hungary. But thereafter, they are a tournament team. And they have one of the best players in the world on their team who's adapted his game to perfection because of his age. And he's not the player he was. Messi is, a different breed. And he's just played the same way throughout his whole career. But why not talk about Portugal? I mean,
The thing is, for the average person, like, Spain has bigger stars, Germany has bigger name players, France has bigger name players, but to win a tournament, you need a squad that is cohesive and gets the job done together, and you're only playing, 5, 6, 7 games at most to win the final, and I think Portugal showed that in the Euros, that they have a squad that's cohesive enough to grind out games, a 1-0 game, a 2-1 game. And yeah, you have teams like France with egos, teams like Belgium with huge egos. Great, like I feel like Belgium was almost too good for their own right. Like
we
I think-
spoke about. Sorry, go on, Ryan.
Yeah, sorry. Gary Neville said something interesting earlier. He was talking about like what a World Cup is like, and he said the standard of a World Cup is not as high as like the Champions League or the top of the Premier League. It's not going to be. You don't play week in, week out of each other. He said it's the toughest thing you do as a footballer because you're away for 6 weeks. You're playing lots of back-to-back games. You're training
England
all the
are
time.
away for like 10 days normally.
Yeah. Well, he would have been,
Yeah.
But and you're also playing with people that you're not used to playing with. And he said it's really tough. So to have that cohesive thing is so important. And you look at teams like Italy throughout the years, who've had players in their side that were like Barini played, I think, who is like got relegated with Sunderland. So on paper, they're not playing for Bayern Munich or Real Madrid. They're playing for lower teams, but they've got a way of playing. They're cohesive, and they've got like that fight as well. And I think
it's a lot.
Tournaments are just completely different.
It's a huge fitness
Tournaments
thing.
are completely different.
The underdog teams, they kind of mold their teams into like really high individuals and endurance and make their players last. Technically, they're not the best. You just said technically it isn't the standard, isn't the same as the Champions League or the top of the Premier League. It just never was. But the excitement and the adrenaline, and to keep that going for 90 minutes, especially in summer tournament play, it's not the hottest in Russia, but it's not throughout the winter where it's going to take a toll on your body. And going back to the egos and the golden generation, I mean, it didn't work for England. This is my problem with teams like Belgium. Yes, they're in a golden generation right now, but they're just getting the rewards like England did in the early 2000s, 2002, 2006. I think we were very unlucky in 2002 when we got knocked out against Brazil. I think that those are the two best teams in the tournament, and we got undone by that Ronaldinho free kick. But, we didn't advance further than the quarterfinals in 2006 either. I mean, what happened in 2004, the Euros, out in the group stages, right? Phil Neville,
yeah.
Hanoi. But these are my problems, especially with France as well. With the amount of talent, the abundance of talent they have, we've never really seen that in previous World Cup winners, that they are the team who are going to really cohesively play well together and turn over teams. Yes, they may in a couple of games, but they're going to struggle against well-matched, well-oiled teams like Germany and teams like Italy who aren't there, but definitely national teams who have played a lot of game time together.
I think it's simple. You have to win, 7 games?
Here you go, Connor Walsh, the coach. It's simple. This is what we do.
I don't think it's not simple, but we have to win 6, 7, I think it's 7 games to win a World Cup. And the closer your team is, you just have to grind out results. It doesn't have to be a 5-0 win. It's not the Premier League. I think a team that could win the World Cup isn't going to finish top 4 in the Premier League, but if you can grind out those results and have a team that gets along together and knows what the other player is going to do, that's way more important. And we've said earlier in this podcast already that the standard is not as high as the Champions League. It's just not. It's not as high as the top 4, 5, 6 in the Premier League. But if you have a team that can just grind out results and win, you're only winning 6, 7 games in a row. It's not like it's not that crazy. Like, I know it's the hardest thing to do, but you just gotta win. And I think that some teams are almost too talented. I get the Belgian problem. I think France has the same problem almost, where you have guys that are just too good, and it's not a team unit. It's individuals doing their own thing, and that doesn't always work. And I think that Portugal was the perfect example at the last Euros, where on paper it's not the best team, but
France should have won that.
They should have absolutely should have won that. But you have a team that's together and defending well, moving well as a unit, moving forward as a unit, good, and it's just that's what it takes. It's just what it takes.
Ryan
froze. I'm gonna get a beer. You want a beer?
Yeah, Ryan, you back? He's froze. Yo.
He's back.
All right, we got you. Yeah, I'll grab a beer. All right. Did you catch most of that? The Connor rant?
Yeah. I lost you for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
3 seconds.
We're good. But yeah, I mean, who are you pulling for? Well, obviously England, but who do you think are the two teams that are gonna make the final this year?
Without looking at like where they meet each other, I kind of in previous years I thought Brazil aren't balanced enough. They've got all these attacking players, but they're not balanced enough. This year they seem to be playing like 3 centre midfielders who aren't going to go running off, and then they've got like so many options in the front three.
Yeah,
they've got Marcelo, who's like the best left back in the world, and then I think it's Danilo they play on the right, and an amazing keeper as well. I can't see past them, and then Germany. Germany will just be there or thereabouts. They're just not going to not be. You know?
That's what I had. They're on different sides of the bracket if they both win their group as well.
Yeah. But that's the thing
I just think the togetherness of Brazil, and especially the way they went out in the last World Cup, they've got fire in their bellies, and I think they have the coach's respect, and Marcelo said he would die for his coach, and a lot of these players are willing to do anything. But and if Neymar's fully fit and sharp, he looked good in the warm-up games. Obviously he's
a joke.
Huh? Best player in the world?
He's a joke. He's so good.
Yeah.
Messi.
Neymar.
Is Neymar good enough to carry a team to a World Cup?
Neymar, yeah, absolutely. He can do that.
I think he's got players with him. I think Jesus could come out in this World Cup. I think everyone's saying that, but he could come out as like one of the superstars.
If I were to pick James of this World Cup, I think Gabriel Jesus could be that player. I know that James played at Monaco, great. Gabriel Jesus played at Man City, won the league. It's kind of different, but I think that Jesus can be the breaking player of this World Cup.
He hasn't been introduced to the world yet. We all know about him because of the Premier League, but the Italian guys and the Spanish guys and the rest of Europe, and they know about him, but they don't really know how good he is. We've seen flashes for Man City, and he can do anything. He's a poacher. He can score worldies. He's absolute tackers, that guy.
Yeah, and then they've got Coutinho, who's ridiculous as well.
I forgot about Coutinho. They're pretty good.
He's ridiculous.
Holy shit, they're good.
Yeah.
So who's the people's team? Because every time I was there, everyone had a soft spot for the underdog. When I saw USA beat Portugal in 2002, who's the underdog team that a lot of the English public are pulling for? Because over here it's Belgium. Everyone's like Belgium heavy. They just like
Belgium's definitely the team.
But they're not really an underdog anymore.
Yeah.
I always kind of like one of the African teams to do well, and then I would say. When I was a kid, it was always Croatia because of their kit. And also I like Modric and Rakitic. But I don't know who the underdog would be this year. I don't get out and speak to enough people to know what the mood of the public is either.
All right. But
All right.
USA, all right. Give us someone at least.
Saudi Arabia.
Nice. Finishing
You're off
second.
to a rough start.
They'll
there.
bounce back. I'm still got them second place. Back-to-back victories.
Absolutely not.
With USA obviously not making the World Cup and embarrassing defeat in Trinidad and Tobago, how much do you follow, you personally, and has the MLS gained more respect over in England and Europe? Have you seen the growth that I have firsthand, or just not really at all?
I would say, me personally, I'm a bit of a football nerd, so I'll kind of see it growing and see, like, I think that when I ever watch a game, I'll see the standard is starting to get there. And the big name players obviously go over, and you're starting to get big name players maybe going over when they're still good now as well. But I wouldn't say the guy in the public will know anything about the MLS. The random English guy, he wouldn't know anything about it apart from the Beckham plays in it or Zlatan plays in it.
What about
played in
like?
it.
All right, obviously U.S. is not in this World Cup. It's a huge loss. But like, what is past World Cups? What is like the thought of the U.S.? Because to me, I mean, obviously, I'm literally wearing the jersey right now. I'm kissing the badge. God bless the USA.
Trump, baby.
Trump train. No, can't kill away. What is like? I feel like in the last few World Cups, they've been like the exciting team. And I know that I'm a fan, obviously, but like, you know, the last World Cup, especially the late win against Ghana, the absolute masterclass against Portugal with the heartbreaking Bruno goal at the end, or whoever friggin' scored, Ronaldo assist. But like, what is like the thought overseas as an Englishman? Like, all right, U.S. is coming into a World Cup tournament. How do people feel about them?
I'd be scared to play America just because I think we should beat them. But you said that you don't have like a cohesiveness. I always thought the Americans they're going to battle, they're going to be fit, they're going to play to a certain way, and you're not going to turn them over 4-0. I would have always thought that in tournaments. You've got to play well to beat them. And yeah, I think most people in the street would think the same. It was a real surprise to see that they didn't get in because they're just there every year. I always said within 30 years they'd win a World Cup. I think that might be a bit of a stretch, but I don't know.
Well, I listened to an interview with Robert Greene actually on BBC podcast, and he was commenting about, you know, how players will make mistakes in the World Cups, how you handle them and deal with them, and what he felt at halftime, and when he let that Clint Dempsey goal in back in 2010. And he was like, well, I just had to come out. I knew I wasn't getting subbed out. And it would have been 2 or 3-1 if it wasn't for him in the second half. Josie Altidore had 2 great chances, and Robert Greene made 2 great saves. And that was obviously the problem with England. But yeah, USA generally have heart. Their heads just got older. They changed coaches halfway through the qualifying campaign, which didn't work for them at all. So it has been a slight embarrassment over here.
Out.
When I was back in England watching the World Cups, it's not necessarily a team that I would latch onto, but it would always be like the underdog, like you said, Ryan. It would be, you would root for that, and you not only would you want an underdog to win, to beat, you know, one of the powerhouses, you just wanted an entertaining game as well. I mean, that Cameroon-Argentina, you may be a little bit too young for that 1990 opening game. Honestly, when I watched that game on my own and I saw Cameroon score that 1 goal and they got 2 players sent off and Kanija was getting absolute smacked around the pitch, I just fell in love with the sport. And for any young person out there to see an entertaining game and to see a nation that they probably never even heard of beat a team like Brazil or a team like France or a team like England, I just think...
Okay,
yeah, go for it.
My underdog is Iceland then. Like, even though they beat us and they're going to play probably quite crap football, but they're literally, what are they, 300,000 people, and they're in the World Cup. And like, if they get on a little run and they are capable of doing it, they could get out of the group quite easily. Who are they in with? Are they in with Argentina?
Argentina, Nigeria, Croatia. It's a really tough group.
Yeah, that is a tough group, but I could see them getting out of that, and I don't know.
I feel
it's
like
one of
Iceland
those
was
where
a
I
bigger.
think-
I feel like Iceland was a bigger story at the Euros than they are right
yeah.
now. Everyone
Do
like
that
had like their.
stupid clap
Everyone
again.
had
I'm
their.
not watching if they do that stupid clap.
Everyone had their taste of Iceland
Sick of it. I
at the
don't buy that
Euros,
shit.
and now everyone's just like, yeah, Iceland. Okay, they can win a match or two in a tournament, but I feel like everyone's just over it already because I don't know. It's just I feel like the hype is
There
died
will be
over
one.
Iceland.
So which nation
There will
do
be
you
one,
think?
won't there?
Which nation do you think out of the big boys are gonna fall short this year? And there's always one. There's always one that are gonna either not get out of the group or just lose a first knockout round. There's always one.
In my head, and I want them. If England don't win it, I want them to win it. Argentina, because as good as Messi is, I've seen that so many. They got pumped by Spain, didn't they? Like 6-1. You can't let that many goals in.
Yeah.
Like I just think at the back they're going to be ropey, and I don't see them. I don't know. Their central midfielders are like meh. Romero, who was their first choice keeper, who's not even a good keeper, is out as well, right? And it's like out of the big boys, I'd say, and it pains me to say it because I love Messi so much, but I would say out of them, maybe. Are we calling Belgium a big team?
You guys have praised them from start to finish on this podcast, so yeah.
Belgium's in between a dark horse and a favorite. They're like in their own class where.
Well, we were discussing. I said Belgium on par with Portugal. He's telling me
Belgium is better than Belgium on paper.
tournament play?
Belgium are way better
What do
than
you mean
Portugal.
on paper, they've been knocked out in the quarterfinals the last two tournaments.
Okay, this
On
is a different tournament,
Portugal
and they have
won the Euros 2 years ago.
I get that, but on paper they have.
Well, no, you got to say okay, carry.
Belgium are a better team than Portugal. However, in a tournament, you need a different. It's different. It's just not the same as an open play. And I think Belgium are in between a dark horse and a favorite. I don't know that they could lean closer to a dark horse, could lean closer to a favorite. It remains to be seen. But if Belgium ended up in the semifinals, I wouldn't be surprised. If Belgium ended up in the finals, I wouldn't be surprised. If Belgium ended getting knocked out against whoever in the quarterfinals, I'm not gonna be sad about it. It's just they are what they are. They are good enough to win the World Cup. They are good. They are bad enough, or they are unpredictable enough to not do anything. So remains to be seen. But I like Belgium, man. I watched them against Costa Rica this week, and this. We talked about yesterday about the De Bruyne versus Hazard, conundrum whether they're gonna take each other's space, but. De Bruyne, Hazard's more of an attacking player. De Bruyne can do a little bit of everything.
But they both can't be on the ball at the same time. You know what I mean?
But they're both good enough. When one of them's in the ball, they're going to make a difference.
Right.
At Man City, who've been the best footballing team in the league by miles this year, they have Silva and De Bruyne. De Bruyne he's playing so deep now. He comes back to the centre circle to get the ball, and then he'll go out to the right. But Silva will play in that 10. Hazard will play in that 10.
Hazard's comfortable coming back. He wants the ball. He wants to run at defenders. I know he can get the ball in the final third and run at defenders, but he likes it deep as well and come in from all angles. He comes in from the left. He really does for Chelsea. I'm not saying it's going to be a disaster and they're going to bump into each other and just look at each other and shrug their shoulders. I'm not saying that. They're intelligent. They're classy enough to make things work for Belgium. I just think with the history, and I mean, Lukaku did come out recently and said Belgium have a better team than Manchester United, which was
100% a fact. 100% a fact. Are you kidding me?
No, I mean it's debatable for sure. But Argentina, Belgium. We went through our brackets yesterday. I had France out and Russia out, so those are my two big boys who aren't going to make it that far.
Make it to where?
The latter stages of the tournament. Who do you have out going out early on, big boys? I even forgot.
Honestly, I think Belgium could do a job, but I don't have Belgium going deep, as deep as other people probably. Yeah. But I think my semifinal was France, Brazil, Germany, Spain. So that's just what I have in my semifinal. I don't remember every aspect of the bracket, but that's what I have in my semifinal.
All right. Well,
also I have my boy texted me today. He's got a bookie that's saying Griezmann 9-1 odds to win Golden Boot. I think I'm gonna throw $100 on that.
I'm going for Cavani.
I think I gotta.
Cavani, he'll get that. He'll get all of the top scorer goals when they play Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
It's a quick hat trick. It's a quick hat trick.
Great matchups tomorrow. I love when this comes around. So 3 games tomorrow. It's just like when the first game ended today, we're like, oh, where's the next one? But tomorrow...
Today sucks. What a joke,
Full slate of games.
Why would you not have Egypt or Uruguay playing at 2 o'clock today?
Egypt, Uruguay, 8 a.m. our time. And that would be, noon your time? No, that would be 1 o'clock your time.
1 o'clock, yeah.
Morocco around 11 a.m. Eastern time, 4 o'clock GMT. Portugal, Spain, 2 o'clock Eastern time. And then you have the best time zones. Fuck, it's annoying. It's not too bad here, but...
I like the morning because it's like the Premier League schedule in a way. It's just like you wake up, there's matches on, and then you're done at 3 o'clock, and the rest of your day is... getting dinner and having a beer. You're just good for the rest of the day. I like that.
But yeah, thank you so much, Ryan, for coming on today. We'll get you back on throughout
soon. Next week.
Yeah, next week. We're going to do this podcast as much as possible. I think the next time we're going to be back is Sunday. But thanks for downloading, guys. Always tweet us at The Third Touch. Connor's very active on there right now. He'll answer all your questions. But thank you again, Ryan, for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Cheers.
Everyone can go back and enjoy the Shinnecock tournament, the US Open, where Rory McIlroy is 50 over right now.
Ryan, I know you're slightly a golf guy. Who do you got winning the US Open?
I would have so before today I'd have said Spieth, and then he shot 79.
Yeah.
So I've changed that. Justin Rose.
And
he's just
out of my own personal curiosity, is the U.S. Open a big deal overseas, over the pond?
It is for golf people, yeah. It's a major, so it's big. Anytime Tiger Woods plays, it's big.
All right, well, Tiger Woods is putting for birdie right now on 9, and he's 3 over. But regardless, thank you for joining us, dude.
Actually, we'll just hold up
worries.
if he sinks this. Hang on 1 second. Hold it. Hold it. Wait a minute.
Go on, Tiger.
Wait a minute.
Oh, he sucks.
Nah,
he's so bad.
3 feet
Tiger.
3 feet to the right.
Yeah,
but thanks again, Ryan. Again, appreciate it. Thank you for listening again.
We could maybe do a Monday night after England against Tunisia.
I don't know about that. I'm either going to be crying or...
I'll be wasted.
And he'll be probably tucked into bed by the time we're... All right, regardless. But, hey, we'll be back soon.
Yeah, enjoy the game on Monday, buddy. Enjoy the tournament. So
Nice one.
All right, guys. All right, thank you
Cheers.
for tuning in, guys. All right, take care. Bye.
Express yourself, create the space. You know you can win, don't give up the chase. Beat the man, take him on. You never give up, it's one-on-one.
got to hold